Hi, I'm Lee Waddell, original Ghostface from Scream 1.
Hi, I'm Alan Robinson, Scream 2's Ghostface.
Hi, and I'm Jeff Brockton, Scream 3's Ghostface, and you are watching
Craven.
Something?
Scary.
Well, good evening or good afternoon, I should say. You can tell me times I don't stream before 7 o'clock. But hey, guys, welcome everyone to Craven Something Scary. Guests, subscribers, and of course, my patrons as my Cravenites. Good to have you all here. And this is going to be a great stream, guys. A really great stream. Looking forward to interviewing and having a discussion with the writer and director of Morgan Killer Doll, as well as two of the cast members who, if you've seen the movie, I know you know who they are. You're going to love it. I'll get to that in a minute. So glad that they could come on today to spend an hour of their time. They're going to give us an hour, guys. So it's going to be a great time. As you see below, submit your questions or comments right now. And of course, all super chats move to the front of the line as always. And you're also helping to support this channel, keep the lights on, helping it to grow and allowing me to get more resources to bring you more things like this and other things as well to enhance the videos. So honestly, it's a win-win. You get your question answered and you help the channel. All right. Thank you again to my patrons and my channel members as well. And I want to give a real quick blanket hello to the live chat, all those that are attending here. Now, I know many of you will be watching this on replay because we're kind of still in the middle of the workday. So thanks for those of you that made the time to watch live. And for everyone watching this later tonight, tomorrow, 2 weeks from now, 6 months from now, whatever it is, glad you're here as well. All right. Quick shout out to my moderators today. We've got Sarah in the house, Mayan, and Julie. All three of my mods were able to make it. Wow. That is a power trio. So thank you both, or all three of you rather, for being here and keeping this a positive, fun, encouraging place. And that's how I roll, and that's how this channel rolls. All right. Now, I think I've covered just about everything I'm going to cover here. Also, you'll see a post from Sarah and the mods occasionally giving you the Instagram accounts for my guests, X accounts, or a YouTube channel. Yeah, that's right. You better believe it. The Haunted Hippies here. And so you're going to get a link for that channel as well. So do me a favor, if you're not subscribed or if you're not following my guests, just click the link. It'll take you right there. Hit follow, hit subscribe, whatever it is respectively. And let's support my guests, okay? Because they're giving it their time to be here with us. All right. Now, having said that, let me introduce my first guest of the panel tonight. And that's going to be the writer and director of the film. And let me show you guys just in case. I'll be showing it a lot and talking about it a lot, of course. Let me get this off for a second, guys. There we go. Morgan Killer Doll, knife not included, sold separately. But please welcome, guys, the writer and the director. It's my pal, Master Chaos TV, otherwise known as Jose Brendas. What's up, man?
Hey, brother. I'm honored to be back here. It's been a minute since we've had a chat. In person, obviously, we've talked.
Right.
On I still call it Twitter, but we
Sure.
keep in touch with each other. But I'm so thankful and grateful to be here and appreciative that you would give this movie the spotlight. So thank you.
Man, it's truly my pleasure, bro. And when I saw the movie, you know what? Let me bring my guest on too. Let me get it because I'm already going ahead because I have lots to say. So, normally I would introduce the cast members in a stream like this, but you know what? Since I have the writer and director of the film, and by the way, behind you, bro, that is Morgan is creeping me out, bro.
Yes, she is. Yeah.
And in the best way, though, in the best way.
Yeah.
But I thought it'd be fun for Jose to introduce the cast that he worked so closely with in making of the film. So, Jose, I'll give you the honors, if you would, in whichever order you'd like.
Okay, well, I think I'm gonna start. Okay, I think leave the person I cast first for
Okay.
last.
Okay.
But this is a person who became a dear friend. She's a colleague in terms of in the YouTube space.
Yep.
I met her as Master Chaos, and I knew her as Haunted Hippie before we became Jose and Kylie to each other. She's an amazing individual. One of the most knowledgeable horror people I've met. That's under 30. So
Right.
that is a compliment. That is a massive compliment. I think I'd love to introduce Kylie Roseanne to the stage.
All right, Kylie, welcome.
Hi. Gassing me up, but I do know a lot about horror. It's true.
It's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
for sure.
Yeah.
And then I guess last but certainly not least, the star of the show, the person I cast first, before I even wrote the damn thing. A dear friend, someone I had made a previous film with before. She's one of the most incredible actors I've ever had the pleasure to see on screen, or to not only just say what I wrote, but to see her really bring to life the things I saw in my head in such an incredible way. Bix Krieger, please bring her on.
Yay, Bix,
Hi.
welcome.
Hi, thank
Yay.
you for having me.
Oh, it's completely my pleasure, and I do appreciate all of you being here. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to hear our discussions as we ramp up, and how the discussion flows just between the three of you. I'll be kicking back, enjoying the show with myself. So this is going to be great.
Okay. Right.
And so, and Jose, we've done this before, but just kind of let you guys know, I don't like to do a really scripted interview. I have a few questions that I did jot down, but I like to go with the flow. I like to be a very fluid conversation. And so if we get going on a rabbit trail, go with it. Don't feel like you have to reel in. Just take it wherever you want to take it, and we'll be good to go. All right, we'll be good to go.
Sounds good.
All right. So the question I have to ask, I just have to, is always goes for me. It always goes back to the origins of stuff. So I would like each of you, one by one, if you would, to kind of describe how everything started for you in terms of acting and in the film business. And of course, Jose, for you, a writer and director. So Biggs, can I start with you and just kind of let me know how it all started for you? How did we get to this point?
So I always like to say it's an unconventional answer, but
Okay.
I definitely got into the world of, I would just say, performing by Britney Jean Spears, our Lord and Savior. It really is so true. I was so mesmerized by her music videos and just that type of portrayal of expression. I don't know. And I didn't even really want to be a pop star. Like, she made me want to be an actor. And that's really what opened the door for me, was growing up in the 90s and early 2000s and seeing those music videos and everything. And then, the rest is history. Yeah. I got into theater when I was really little. I went to school for musical theater through high school, college, and then I transitioned into film and TV, which I do love so much more. I still always will have a special place in my heart for musical theater. But I gotta give my props to Miss Britney Jean Spears.
Wow. How about that, man? Who would have thought it, right?
Yeah.
That's what, to be inspired from her to where you are now. That's really awesome, man. That's so cool.
I know. I
Briggs.
Always feel like everybody has these really deep, meaningful answers, and I'm just like,
it's Britney, bitch.
Exactly.
Love it.
Awesome. Love it too. All right, Kylie, how about you now? Talk to us about how you got to this place.
I just fell in love with movies when I was little because I had family that kind of imparted it on me. So, I was shown a lot of horror very young. I feel like one of the most impressionable movies when I was a kid, besides Jaws, like being the first horror movie I saw, would be like Jurassic Park and maybe Back to the Future. So yeah, I fell in love with movies back then, and then when everybody's dream job was like astronaut, vet, whatever, it was actress. I never put that much serious thought into it, even though like I also did theater and stuff when I was little and just always loved acting. Um, and then I actually did act in a couple shorts when I was in film school, but I don't know. The goal was always just writing, directing, and I had already produced a couple shorts by the time Jose found me. And then he told me he wrote a part for me, and I thought that makes sense. So this was my first. I mean, I'd done creature acting in my short films, but I'd never given myself dialogue. Never wrote myself like a real character.
Yep.
And yeah, so it's a new adventure for me, but I have dreamed of it since I was a little kid. It makes sense. But I don't even have headshots or anything yet. You know, we're brand new out here.
Well, I have to ask you before we go to Jose. Now that you've had the taste of a full length, a feature, help me out, Jose. Feature length film. So I'm trying
There
to
you go.
say.
Yeah.
Now that you've actually dipped into the waters, you've done it. How has that changed, or has it changed your desire? Has it amped it up now? Like, I want to go further with this. Is that
Oh
really
yeah.
lit the fire?
Yeah, I mean, it just was so much fun. I think that we got really, really lucky with the cast and crew that we had, because not only have I gotten really close to all the cast, but like our DP Camilo was amazing, and I got to direct the music video for the song that plays in the end credits, and he was my DP, and so like just everyone was amazing. So I don't know if I'll get that lucky again. It was like the best welcome
Yeah.
into that kind of world. But yeah, I certainly want to keep going. I still have like my main aspirations, I think, are still mostly like directing, but acting is so
Okay.
much fun. It is so much fun. So yeah, when the opportunities arise, I'll be there for sure.
Nice. Love
And she's
that.
a
Oh,
natural.
Oh,
yes, I agree. I agree.
thank you, guys.
You know, the character, the character Fiona. Oh boy, she's something else. We're gonna get into that. Jose, I'll let you share with us how your journey of this amazing career already you've had started for you.
For me, it was Vanilla Ice. I think listening to Vanilla Ice inspired me to. No, I wish. I mean, that's such a fun answer. Britney Spears. It's kind of awesome.
It is.
Mine was I was. I was an orphan. I'm a single child, and movies were always there for me. And there was just something about it that really spoke to me, and I didn't know what it was, and you can't really put your finger on what it is that speaks to you about a movie, but or about movies in general, the art form. But early on, the only thing I knew was movies. This is it. This is it. It was like the universe kept yelling into my face, movies. This is what you gotta do. You gotta do movies. And for a while, I wanted to be an actor, and I did that. But ultimately, the real fun is in the writing and directing, because you get to really shape the movie. An actor can really only do so much, but they need the material to work off of. And I had more fun, building the blueprints and then letting the actors, kind of make it their own and kind of play with it and create their own little thing and make this beautiful little magical thing that didn't exist before. So, writing and directing, it just became that. Well, that's a no-brainer. However I need to do that, I will do that. And I just early on, my goal was set, and I think out of my friend group, I was really the only one who knew what they wanted to do. And I think that drive has stuck with me, and it's sort of that stubborn side of me that honestly still keeps me in this industry, which can be heartbreaking and brutal and debilitating and all sorts of punishing. But once you get that fix, once you have that addiction, you can't break it. And if you can make a living out of it, which gratefully I've been able to,
Yes.
then you just got to keep going. You just got to keep going, man. That's
Wow.
it. I'm in love. I'm in love with movies. That's it.
I love that, man. That's awesome. Now, getting back to Morgan here, and Jose, before we get into the casting, although we have a little insight now on Kylie getting casted, but still, before we get into that more specifically, tell me how this movie or this script you wrote, this story, how did it really become a reality in terms of the asylum getting on board to make it, which I know you've done several asylum films previously, and so was this one of those? How long did it take you to write this story? And when did you get through saying this is a winner? That feeling like this needs to get made.
Well, it's funny because, and I'm glad I'm on your channel because I know we've talked Scream before.
Mm-hmm.
This at one point, no spoilers here as far as going forward
Yes.
because the movie's really
Right.
spoiler heavy. So, but at one point, a version of this was my pitch for Scream 5. And
Mm.
at the time, there was an opportunity to be able to present it. That unfortunately that didn't work out. But at one point, this was my pitch for Scream 5, and I loved the central concept. So I'm like I'm gonna hold on to that. And I've always wanted to make a killer doll movie. I mean, I grew up with Chucky. I think that's like the first time the first icon I fell in love with horror wise. I'm like, oh man, Chucky. I mean, I still love Chucky. I think he's amazing. Nowadays, whatever, the franchise is shaky, but the first four movies are fantastic. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I've always wanted to make a killer doll movie, and then it's like there was a moment where I almost made a Puppet Master movie. That unfortunately fizzled out. But so I've had that concept in my head for a while, and I've had the killer doll concept as well. The need to want to make that movie, and so I married the two ideas, which I don't want to get too into detail exactly, but
Okay.
basically, I had what I thought was a very unique take on the Killer Doll movie, and Asylum wanted to make a movie that would tie in with Megan, and I said,
Mm-hmm.
"Look, I've got a great idea. It's a little outside the box, but I think it's unique. I think it's something we haven't seen before." I pitched it to them, and thankfully they were like, "Yeah, sounds awesome. Let's do that." And I was very happy that they went with my concept instead of I think the original one that they wanted to do, which was I'd say closer to what Megan is. Our movie is very different from Megan. Yes, they put the Morgan moniker on it as a way to tie it in, but I that was not my
Mm-hmm.
decision. I'm gonna be blunt about that. Our movie is unique in terms that it's not necessarily a Megan clone.
Right.
If anything, it's an homage to '90s slasher movies. Like we were talking off air, it's
Yep.
very much an homage to like Dimension era movies.
That's right. I felt the same way, and there are some great Scream homages in this film. So just want to, or everybody in my audience, I know you guys love Scream. We talk about it every week. So you definitely want to check it out, the film, for a multitude of reasons, mostly the people on the screen, but also you're going to pick up on some really cool stuff. So I had a watch party on my second channel for it this weekend, and I may have a watch party for it coming up here on Craven as well. So who knows? Maybe I'll be able to. Maybe I can wrestle one or two of these folks in back to the channel for a watch party of the movie. I mean, you never know, right? You never know.
Watch
Anything's
party.
possible. It'd be pretty fun. Do a watch party. Yeah.
Kind of hard to watch yourself act, to be honest. I don't know how it is for you, Bix, but it's kind of hard. It's when it's you. It's like
Yeah.
you're
Well,
acting, you know.
I felt like when I haven't watched it a second time yet, but I really do want to watch it because you're
oh,
totally right. The first time watching it was you're nitpicking, you know
yeah.
what's coming, you're like, which take are they gonna choose? And like all of those thoughts are kind of flowing through your brain. So
Mhm.
yeah, I definitely want to watch it now with like fresh eyes and just
Yeah,
enjoy it for what it is.
absolutely. Well,
Mhm.
if it's any
Mhm.
consolation, You, Bix, you were freaking amazing.
Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh. I
It
can't even.
was the role I was meant to play.
It felt like watching it.
Yeah.
It's what it felt like. I mean, seriously. Now, I'm going to get into specifics about the role as well as you, Kylie, your role too.
Mhm.
So keep that in mind. Seriously. I'm open to a watch party here soon. So it'd be amazing to have you back. You could give live thoughts about it as we're watching it. It would just be awesome. And you don't have to worry about spoilers because we're watching the movie.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
everyone's watching it, seeing it. So it's like you can talk freely.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't think we've talked about spoilers in any of our interviews yet, actually. Be
Mm-mm.
kind of nice.
Yeah. Yep. I
Um,
get that. I get that. And I'm real careful in the questions I'm going to ask to skirt around spoilers, very carefully. If I get too far over, reel me in, Jose. But I think I
Okay.
respect the no spoiler thing. That's big time.
Right.
Okay, so I think we kind of learned about because you, Jose, you mentioned you had contacted Bix, right, about
Yeah.
being in the movie before you had written the story, which is very complimentary, Bix, right there, right? That's pretty amazing. Um, how did you know that she was Darcy? Because watching Darcy, I know it was meant for her. How did you
Yeah.
know?
Well, writers are honestly mentally ill. We always hear voices. So there's always people in our heads, and I'm like, oh, that's a good line, and then you write that down.
Right.
So Darcy's always been in there. She's still in there. And I knew this character was coming. I knew there was this situation, this movie was going to happen. I knew it was not going to be an easy part to cast.
Right.
Bix was in another film of mine, Monster Mash. She played our witch, and she was so fun to work with. And at the premiere, she came dressed. It was like doll heads were glued to her dress, or like I don't know. What did you say? Taped on? How were they attached?
I pinned them onto a top that I made out of a blanket of women's faces. So it was like a shirt of women's faces with doll heads pinned along the collar.
That's awesome.
The minute I saw that, I'm like, oh my god, it's like the universe was telling me. And then later on, the movie, it hit the ground running, and it was happening, and I was writing it, and I visited Bix on set of another film she was on, and I said, so I've got this killer doll movie, and I think it would be kind of great for the lead. I'd love for you to read it. And she said, yeah, sure, send it. And then of course I'll have her speak to how she responded to it. But I mean, needless to say, she got cast.
Yeah.
In the part.
Yeah. So Vix, how'd that feel when you got the call, the email from Jose saying, "Hey, I really want you back"? What did that feel like in that moment?
From the jump, like from the moment Jose approached me at the premiere for the other movie, I was so excited, and there was so much time in between. I think like a full year passed from the moment he approached me about the doll movie until it actually like came to fruition. So throughout that time, I've worked with Asylum a lot. I've done a lot of films between that time. So him and I would run into each other a lot and just kind of spitball about the characters while he was still working on the script. And honestly, it was just something that, as an actor, it's not always easy to play the roles that you want, especially when you're in this developmental stage out like in LA, like so it was something super exciting for me because it was a role that I wanted to play, like a type of character I wanted to play so badly, and I felt I'd be so perfect for. So just hearing that was in the works was super exciting. And then kind of workshopping, and I wouldn't hear from Jose for a couple of months. We'd run into each other, we'd chat about it. It was just like this like slow burn, but like there was always that excitement for it. So once it finally got greenlit and I got the script and I read it, I just totally and completely wholeheartedly fell in love with Darcy and the story as a whole. And yeah, I'm very grateful to have played somebody like Darcy.
Wow. I tell you, okay, yeah, and I'm thankful too, because quite honestly, I mean, I'm
We all
seriously,
are.
yeah, I can't even imagine anyone else taking the reins of that role.
Oh, thank
I
you.
seriously mean that. I mean, the demand for you, and it's that third act is, man, the intensity and emotion required for the monologue in the third act that you give is off the chain, off the charts, and that is not easy. There are not a lot of people that could command that performance and that won't lose you. Because if there was ever a moment that wasn't believable, it's gone. It's over. It would have been, you would have lost me. I'm not giving spoilers. I'm just saying the what you do in that third act was so powerful. And I'm like,
Thank you.
I'm watching. I'm like, this is not letting up. This is staying constant. And it reminded me, and I'm not making this up. And Jose's going to know how much this means as a compliment coming from me. But I felt like I was watching a little bit. You're right in the neighborhood of Matthew Lillard's performance as Stumacher.
That's what I told her.
Lillard is
Yes, serious.
Matthew Lillard is my like number one
Me too.
celebrity crush, everything crush. I'm obsessed with Matthew Lillard. So that is an incredible compliment. So
Yes.
thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome.
it's
You earned
funny
it.
because I was talking with friends after the premiere and I was saying that all the work in the third act, as much as it was, you know, emotionally and physically taxing, it was so much more of a comfortable space to get into than any of the scenes in the first act.
Okay.
I don't know what that is, but those just like regular talky scenes, I struggle with so much more than those scenes that demand so much from me.
Yes.
I don't know why.
That's awesome.
I think it was the same for a
Well,
lot of us. Like luckily we all had a lot of chemistry right off the bat, but like pretending to be natural, like we're having a conversation right now, whatever. Like pretending to be normal is for some reason really hard. I luckily didn't have to do anything as emotionally taxing. Like Bix was carrying here, so I mostly was doing the casual stuff, but I had my own challenges. But yeah, being normal is tough. And also I think it helps that Darcy has probably always been like ever present inside of Bix. I just feel like
Very much so.
yeah.
So
It's like I can let Darcy out. I can let her out now. Here we go.
yeah.
And I don't think I've told Bix this. I don't think I mentioned this, but during the casting process, our producers are surprisingly picky with the cast, and for something like this, I wanted to be very, very careful with who I cast because I wanted it to be as close to, you know, I was passionately connected to this material, so I wanted to have the cast that I thought would fit the material the best. And if I didn't get Bix, I don't think I would have made the movie. I would have said, you know, I can't do it. I seriously can't do it. So early on, the producers know her because she's done a lot of asylum movies. So I went to the head guy and I'm like, hey, so I want Bix to play Darcy. And she's like, no way, she could never play this. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And then he looked over and he smiled because he was kidding. But so I'm like, what the? And so at that point, I'm like, all right, she's cast. I don't need to worry about it. Like they knew she's a good actor. And she did like 6, you know, self-tape auditions for me that I just kept sending to them. And they were at the level of the finished movie. Like that's how amazing, you know, she was delivering it in just in auditions. So it was a no-brainer that she would be cast, and so she basically, beyond another character who was a returning character from another movie of mine, Kayla Fields, she was already cast. Technically, she was already returning, but Bix was like an instant, of course, like duh. And honestly, I looked at 200 tapes and nobody came close. So
Wow.
Darcy would have been super hard to cast if I didn't know Bix.
We auditioned together a little bit actually, so I got to, that imposter syndrome kicked in really early on because I was like, oh my God, like look at these people I'm auditioning with. Oh my God, we had to do like an improv scene at one point that I think you sent in. Just, I don't know, we were like developing our chemistry and stuff, but I was there for one of those in-person audition days and it was like, yup, these actors are for real. Yup.
You slayed too.
Thanks.
Oh yeah, you did. Oh, we're going to get into that, your role too, very shortly. Real quick, guys, we got a super chat coming in from Sarah. Thank you, Sarah, for supporting the channel. Sarah says, hello, you may not have this information, but do you have any idea when this will be released in Canada or internationally? I'm excited to see it.
I don't know, but I know it will go worldwide. It will eventually be everywhere. I don't have a date on all that, but it will eventually be released everywhere. It may be next month. I'm not sure.
Oh, fingers crossed, because Sarah's really wanting to see the movie. We tried everything on the watch party, every service you could think of, and nobody had it in Canada. So hang tight, Sarah. Everyone else, if you're not in the States, hang tight. Jose says it is coming, so we'll keep an eye on it, and maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll see when it hits the international, Jose. Maybe we'll do the watch party here for it. That way, everyone can attend, like Sarah and others. Something to think about. Something we can think about. But
sounds good.
Okay, now I have to ask, because Jose, I know you're typically these asylum shoots are really quick, and crazy fast. How many days did you get for this one? I have to ask.
We shot this in 2 days.
Dude, come on, no, dude.
No, it feels like it. We shot it in 6 days.
6? Oh my gosh!
Is
not that much better.
Yeah,
not
really
that much
not,
better.
dude.
But yeah,
Because the last
6
movie we
days.
talked about, you had 9 days. Now, and I couldn't believe that. 6
No, I think
days.
what was the last thing we talked about? Was it Exorcist?
It was the Headless Horseman, I think.
Oh no, that was 6 days.
Throwback.
That was 6 days.
Well.
It was a different one
Yep.
then. It was one of us. But dude, so tell me, because obviously you're becoming a pretty good expert on 6-day shoots now and what you have to do.
Unfortunately, yes, we've gotten good at it. Yeah.
Now I gotta ask Kylie and Vix coming in now. What was this like? What kind of a frantic pace was this for you guys as actors in the movie?
Gotta be a one-take wonder most of the time.
Yeah.
you just gotta do it. I talked about this in another interview, but it actually made it easier for me to just like drop my ego and be like, and drop the nerves and be like, okay, I've got a job to do and I have one take to do it, so let's just do it. So in many ways, it was actually a blessing for me. I don't know about you, Bix.
I feel like I've been seasoned in the asylum ways of working. This was my 5th film with Asylum.
Oh, okay,
So
yeah.
I have done the 6-day shoots. I've done the crazy overnights. I've done the rewrites on set. All kinds of things. Everything. Nothing is ever going to be exactly what was written on the page. There's always going to be changes and cuts, and you just have to be super flexible. So working with a group of people who were so willing to be flexible and also so good at their jobs made it streamlined so much easier, and we all just got along so well. Like Kylie was saying, like we all just had such good chemistry that I think that also helped it. We were able to just have fun and do what we had to do.
Yeah, there was one day where I think that like none of us had any time to rehearse. It's like one of the outdoor scenes, and it's early on in the first act, and I had like this tattoo, my Blair Witch tattoo, was like covered in red, and like my tattoos weren't fully covered, and so but we like had to do it, and none of us had rehearsed, and I definitely forgot one or two line, like
Oh no.
but just being with good people helps a lot, and with movie magic it cut together, so
Wow. Amazing.
yeah.
Amazing. So Jose, obviously you're the captain of the ship out here, man. And you got 6 days to make it happen. Are we talking 16-hour days here? Is that fair to say? Are we talking
I
are
wish
we
they wouldn't let me go over.
Oh man.
Which was really really tough because you don't even technically it's a 12-hour day, but really it's 10 hours. And sometimes
Oh, man.
it's 9 if the crew has to break down at the end of the night.
True.
You have 9 hours to shoot potentially 15 to 25 pages. It's almost
Ooh.
impossible. If it wasn't for the fact that if the cast doesn't know their lines, you're fucked. If makeup is taking too long, your day is ruined. If there's a camera issue, if a light breaks, I mean, there's so much that can go wrong, and luckily it doesn't. Wardrobe, yeah, wardrobe had to get approved. The doll had to get approved, so we didn't have a doll,
Oh, that's
a
right.
look for like the first 2 days. So there's so much that can go wrong that the fact that these things come out, halfway decent at all is a shock. And for me, that really is the movie magic. Like, look, as the captain of the ship, you have to push things forward. My goal is to not be an asshole about it and make it a party, so we all have a good time. Look, we're not curing cancer. We're making movies. We're making our dreams come true. But there's a reality we're facing. I've got 30 minutes to shoot 5 pages. I don't know how to do that.
Wow.
But we're going to do it as best as we can. And you got to rely on the cast to know their stuff, because you got to worry about focus. Focus is off. Damn it. I say the line again, or the blood didn't read. Wipe it off real quick. We got to keep rolling. Just wipe the blood off and let's try it again.
Wow.
There's so much. No, you have to have 10,000 hats on. Luckily, if you cast well, the cast will handle their part, and you don't have to micromanage. I didn't have to micromanage here. This was like everyone. I'd say, oh, you know what? I would throw them different lines. Hey, try this, just for fun. A lot of the moments where they're just hanging out. Most of that stuff was just stuff we came up on the day. Like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if you said this, and then they try it, and it ends up in the movie, and it feels the most natural and genuine stuff because it felt lived in.
Yeah.
It's not an easy job. This last one I just finished was very, very stressful. But I can't think of anything else I'd rather do. No matter what, this is just it's too damn fun. As hard as it is, I can't wait to do it again.
And
So
major
it's almost
shout out
okay.
to our DP, Camilo, because he really held that. I don't know if I'm allowed to curse. But he held that down.
I did, so sorry. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll let one slide.
He was just like so great with problem solving on the spot, like having issues with angles, like being in small rooms and small spaces, making places look like different places. Like his brain was just on it immediately. He'd get his crew to set it up and we'd shoot. And I really commend him so much for what this movie came out to be.
Yeah, Camilo Godoy is his name. He's amazing, and again, he was fast, and I didn't have to worry about him taking 2 hours to light a shot. I don't have 2 hours, dude. I need this shot. He goes, you got it, and then he would set it up, and he'd be ready before anybody. I'm like, awesome. So he's my guy going forward. He just shot my last one, so he's amazing.
Wow, incredible. So I'm going to point this more to Bix and Kylie. While you're there on set, on location where you're filming, and knowing the speed of which this has to be done, and there's got to be an internal stress, just being human, that you got to get this. Can you describe the environment that Jose set on set? I guess I'll mix them together. What was the environment like for you as actors knowing the time crunch, knowing all this has to happen, but you also can't get lost in that because you got to perform. So what was it? What was the feeling and the atmosphere on set?
I honestly, like, for me, it was really mellow, but I got to be supporting cast. So I had one pretty intensive day. And then for the rest, like, I'm just worried about learning my lines and stuff. But I feel like Jose keeps a really, really level head, and we even, and even like tries to have fun, during lunch playing Cards Against Humanity and stuff, just to like build our chemistry and all that. So, I honestly had a really relaxed time. Like,
Mhm.
obviously there would be the crunch time where a- typically like above the line people know more of what's going on, and sometimes even a few of them won't know, so all of a sudden sometimes you're like, oh, we're shooting this big long scene and we haven't rehearsed at all, like I was talking about. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think Vix might be the better person to ask this question, because it's being a supporting actor is great, honestly. And like Jose and also
Relaxing.
Camila, like, because everyone has like just a good attitude, and even though everyone's working really fast, nobody, even like our first AD, which typically like they can tend to get the most stressed out because they're trying to keep all these creative people like on time with stuff, and so they might project on you a little bit. They might be a little mean. Even our first ADs were just like so kind, and it was
Mhm.
honestly, like, for a 6-day shoot, I mean, yeah, there's like pressure of having to be a one take wonder, but it was nice. It was a good atmosphere. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel like, and I mean this in like the best way possible, like it almost felt like shooting a student film, but with like professionals, because of how just how light it was, how fun it was. Like, just like Kylie was saying, nobody was mad at each other, nobody was yelling. Like,
Mhm.
you're on set sometimes when things can get really tense. And I don't think that we ever really had moments like that. Like, yeah, there was times we were on like time crunches, but everybody still stayed in good spirits, and I think that
Mhm.
that really kept us moving along.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They
I,
had
I
the
like to I
yeah.
like to wear slippers whenever I can, because
Yeah.
it
Ah.
shows the cast and the crew that
Uh,
if the captain looks relaxed, then things are
yeah.
things are happy. I mean, inside I was freaking out, like, fuck, 2 hours, god damn it. Okay, guys, let's try it again. Let's get this angle. But you can't. And I've seen it happen where people blow up and yell at each other, and it's like, but then that
Mhm.
kills it. The energy, it's not fun anymore. Then it's contentious, and it kills that energy, that creative energy. And so part of the directing job is to keep all that shit bottled up. I'm gonna out myself on my most recent movie. I did let it out, my frustration, not on the cast or anything, but just because of the time was crunching in
Mm.
on things, and I apologize to them, just because it's a lot. It's a lot to handle, and it really is on um um it is on my shoulders specifically, because I know the producers will come to me and go, "Hey, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Oh, you could have done this." I'm like, "Well, I could have had 10 days, but I didn't." So it's
Right.
yeah, it's a juggling act, but the goal is to not show the cast and crew that
Mhm.
it's as hard as it looks. And again, great cast, great crew, you can do anything.
Yep.
Mhm.
Well, that's good leadership, man. To be honest,
Well,
that's
that's
to be
right.
able to lead a cast and crew, and they never see you sweat, even though you're pouring soaking wet on the inside, but they don't know that, and that's pretty good. That's leadership, man. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Because if
thank you.
they start to see that in you, it's going to trickle down, and then you're going to have to be giving pep talks every 10 minutes, and to get everybody's heads right back in the game. So good on you, man. You've I think we could say at this point, because this is how many silent films now, Jose, are you at?
I honestly have lost count, which is insane to say. I
Yeah.
I want to. This was my 11th movie.
Okay.
So for Asylum, maybe nine. I think maybe
9,
nine. Yeah.
bro. I think it's safe to say we can officially call you the master of six. The master of six
But
days.
oh yeah,
You've got it down. The master of 6 days.
you know what? I'll take it, because it's a hell of a thing to be
That's
able to pull
insane.
off. And
Yeah.
I know for a fact my producers were directors, and they said, "Oh, I would never do 6 days." Oh, okay, great, but you make everybody else do 6 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is very hard. It's certainly not for. I wouldn't recommend it as somebody's first movie to try it on 6 days, because
Ooh. Yeah.
it's yeah, you really have to have a language with yourself and know what you want to see, and that's tough, especially when you're coming in fresh.
Absolutely, man. Well done. I'm telling you, watching the movie, it does not feel rushed. Yeah, I was going to compliment your editor
Oh
because the
yeah, Daniel
pacing is
Half.
very good pacing, dude. There's no lull moments. There's no point where you start to get like this is taking too long. It's slowing. The pace was very well established the entire film to keep your attention, as in addition to the performances, of course. But
Mhm.
I just want to say kudos to your director. I mean,
Direct
to your
editor.
editor, to your editor. Exactly.
Yeah, his name is Daniel Half, and
Yes.
he's amazing. He's cut my last 4 movies, and he's doing my new one. So yeah, I love that guy.
Good. Yeah. Great job. Now, all right. So now I'm going to turn to our actors. Now, Kylie, I have to ask. Well, first, I got to tell you, you did a great job playing Fiona. I absolutely loved your performance. I would laugh at some of the comments, and then I would be like, "Oh, come on now, let's don't be that mean. Come on."
That's the
And
point.
I know
It's good.
exactly. So, look, let's face it. When you're dealing with a friend group, you're gonna have all these different personalities, especially at that age that that we're working on in the movie. So, um, tell me, how do you describe the character of Fiona to someone who's never seen it?
So I've been describing her as if Wednesday Addams was a little bit of a loser because she's this insecure girl, and I think that like she does have a sense of fashion, but I feel like her gothic
Yep.
drapings and stuff are more they're more of like a wall. I think she's an insecure girl, and but she also doesn't have a filter, and so I think that she like can't believe the friends that she does have, but she still keeps them a little bit at arm's length because I don't know. I don't know if she thinks that she really deserves them. So, yeah, Fiona's.
Yep.
You might not think so, but she's complicated. I was thinking
Yeah.
about her a lot when I was playing her, and I was sad to leave her when the shoot was over. So.
Oh, you really did great. You really nailed it. I enjoyed it. I bought Fiona as a character. I'm like,
Oh.
this is totally that there's always one in the friend group of course that friend group, Jose, these weren't all nice people, bro. I'm gotta tell you, bro. They were not nice folks. I felt bad
so
for
funny.
everybody for go ahead.
I've watched this thing like 30 times, just like in post in general, but the more I watch, I'm like, man, these girls are really mean to poor Charlie. I mean, he just gets shit on, and and everybody is. I mean, except for I think Kayo. Kayo stays on an even keel. I think.
That's true.
I think she gets
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, Brad
We're
is
all
a very
flawed.
special character.
Yeah.
Everybody's flawed. Everybody's
We're
flawed.
all
exactly.
flawed.
That's right.
Just like
On
real
top of
life.
Kaio, I do
That's
have
true.
to say, Sarah. I'm so obsessed with Sarah and her performance in this movie. I remember going up to Jose after the initial table read and saying, she's so hilarious. She's so funny. She was my favorite character. And she delivered in the movie exactly as she did in the table read. And it was just so specific and perfect. And I just want to give her her flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. She Sarah, who played Kaio, she's very shy. She doesn't like to do interviews. I've asked her, and she goes, I just don't. She's like, I don't know what to say. I just feel nervous. I'm like, okay, I get it. But she's incredible as an actor. From a director standpoint, she is a perfect technical actor. Every take, the exact same thing. No actor can ever do that. But I'm like, I took her aside. I'm like, damn, dude, you're like a robot, but like in a good way. She's like, thank you.
Mhm.
But she's so great, and like Bix or Kylie, it's somebody that I will always go to. Like, oh God, this is great. I'm gonna put Sarah in this. You know, she's excellent. Yeah, I love her. And sort of to backtrack a little bit about the casting for Kylie,
Hmm.
I obviously knew her from her YouTube channel, and that's sort of where we met and connected. And so on there, she plays a version of Fiona,
She
and
does.
and I'm like, man, I've never seen a goth person in the kind of Scream friend group. Boy,
Right?
that would be fun. And Fiona
Mhm.
was born. So it's basically, it's honestly, in my mind, it's Haunted Hippie.
Right?
But
And I'm like talking all this shit. She's this insecure. Like,
yeah, no, she's the daughter of the Antichrist, basically.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
character, right? Of course. Yeah. I
Yeah.
know. When I watched it the first time, I'm like, wow, okay. We literally Haunted Hippie she just came right on over, and as far as the persona, if you will. And
Mhm.
but hey, if you do it well, then wear it, own it. It's good, and having a goth character is unique. I've only seen it in the TV series season 3. Becky
That's right.
was the
Yeah,
only one that I've
Mm.
seen a gothic at all in the Scream universe.
yeah,
Not in the
Mm.
movies though. Not in the movies.
yeah.
Um, okay, Bix, I got to get to you. I know we've got about 7 or 8 more minutes, so I have to ask. Well, first of all, I must tell you, and I've already said it, but so the audience comes in and out, I want to make sure everyone hears me say it. The character of Darcy, I am absolutely in love with this character. Like, I mean,
Right.
from every moment, from the beginning moments to the final moments, which we talked a lot about, every stage of Darcy, I said, I got to find out who this is. Because the first thing I thought of when I was watching, I was like, I knew who they did the movie, but I said, I told my sister when we were watching it, I said, I have got to meet Biggs because what
Aw,
I'm
thank you.
seeing here is so real and authentic,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mhm.
I believed everything you did. I believed it
Thank
all.
you. That's very,
Seriously.
very meaningful.
Well, I'm
Darcy
glad.
means a lot to me too.
Oh my gosh. And even seeing you now, I'm like, oh man, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting to see Darcy come out. I mean, that's all I'm going to say. Yeah. But I have to ask you because I mentioned earlier that role specifically is so emotionally charged and so intense. And it's that Stu Mocker intensity. I'm telling you, it's like,
Hmm.
how do you as an actor tap into that and not lose that? Because it seems to me if you're in between takes, you got to ramp up. You got to get back into that mode, right? Tell me how were you able to pull that off in so many scenes?
Um, I feel like there's just such a part of me that's relates so much to Darcy and all
Mm,
of her inner workings of she's just a girl who's trying to do her best and has been
Mm-hmm.
let down by every single
mhm.
person that she's ever come in contact with.
Yeah.
And that's something that like I'm sure a lot of people can relate to, and it's not something that everybody always wears on their sleeve and they can kind of build up this wall or this shield.
Hmm.
And yeah, I feel like I was that person who kind of builds that hard exterior.
Yeah.
And I think it's just always living inside of me in this weird way. So, and like I was saying in the beginning, I really didn't struggle with those third act moments,
Yep.
those like the scenes of
Mhm.
intensity. I think that I felt so raw and vulnerable and honest in those moments because I
Mhm.
felt so connected to her story,
Yep.
and it was like a way of releasing all of that in a way of like melding me and Darcy together. And yeah, I don't know, I'm also just like a crazy
Yeah.
bitch. But
Oh
Like a
gosh.
catharsis.
yeah. Yes, very cathartic. But yeah, I just it was just a lot of thinking about the human person that Darcy is and not trying to be some horror movie character or play up
Yep.
this thing. I really wanted to make her so real
Mm-hmm.
and human to the audience and to myself. And so I was able to go in and out of those takes. And honestly, it was more like like the physical stuff. Some of the physical things obviously were a little bit more challenging, but the emotional tap in,
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm tapped into Darcy every second of the day.
So you could kind of flip
Okay.
the switch and so to speak. When it was time to go, action, you were just bam, right? You were there. You just the switch turned on.
Yeah,
And
I feel like it.
yeah. Now, Jose, tell me how you felt behind the camera, watching her perform in the room. What did you feel watching her live doing this performance in person?
Well, when you write it, you see it in your head, and there's a version of the movie in your head, and you try to capture that as much as possible in real life. I knew I wanted Bix to play Darcy, so that already played into my imagination version of what I was seeing when I was writing. So when I'm looking at the monitor and I'm seeing this, I mean, hands down award-winning performance.
Yep.
I'm glued. I never really said this, but I'm like near tears because I'm like, this is as there's two actors in my life I've worked with, who have exactly hit the movie I heard in my head. One was Ethan, from Headless Horseman,
Yes.
who actually
Love.
shared a scene with Bix, and Bix. That's it's very rare that you hear the same voice in your head that happened when you're filming it. And she got it. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my god, this is perfect. This is exactly it. And then whenever there was like a focus shift, I'm like, focus, stay with her, focus. What's happening? And it was frustrating on that level because you don't wanna I hate cut. Sorry, look, I know you're really into it, but the focus was off, and you don't want to tell her,
Oh,
and you don't want to hinder her. Like, hey, could you just like not move around because you want her to feel free and be able to express and be alive in it.
that's right.
So I had to like let go of some of the technical stuff to just I want to let her be. This is the best thing. I
Mm-hmm.
mean I'm in awe. I still I'm continue to be in awe of her. She is incredible. I'm honored that she gave me the Darcy in my head, and
Wow.
every note I ever got from the producers was, "Oh, you're missing this. You need this. This is too dark. We need coverage of this." But Bix is great, so it's like their only compliment was Bix was great. I'm like, all right, guys,
Aw,
fine. I'll take
I
it.
love that.
But
That's so
but they
good.
yeah they you have fans all over the world, and Bix, I'm glad you could make time for this because Craven, when he reached
Yes.
out,
Yeah, of
he goes,
course.
I want to interview you guys. Can you bring Bix? I'm like, I'll see what I
Yep.
can do.
That's right. That was like, can you please bring Vix? And he's like, well, she's usually pretty busy, but let me try. I said, yeah, man, please. I've got to get her on the channel and meet her.
I'm glad
And
I was here.
it was me too. So glad it worked out. Well, guys, we're going to start wrapping up now. I appreciate you being so generous with your time and being here. I did have one question for Jose that came in the chat. I wanted to throw up real quick. We touched on it earlier, but she missed the first part of the stream. That's from Sherry. Hey, Sherry, one of my channel members.
Hello.
Says hello to everybody. What were the obstacles you had to overcome to write your script and acquire funding to get it filmed and produced? Were any obstacles that you came across along the way?
Well, I mean, there are obstacles in production, but in terms of making the movie, because I was connected with Asylum, they have funding for their movies already, and so
Mm,
so the money part was the easy part.
Okay.
You know, and then just dealing with whatever budget they give you, and you know, you make the best movie you can. But in terms of
Okay.
raising money, that's you know, the $64,000 question. Like, no one's been able to really there's no direct answer for that. There's many ways, and it's very, very hard to get a movie off the ground.
Yeah.
The next two things I'm doing sort of just dropped in my lap. You know, it's very hard to, you know, give an answer to that. But I think
Okay.
the biggest hassle was the fact that they only gave me 6 days.
Yeah. Gosh.
Mhm.
Can only imagine. All right, as we close out, I'd like to, Jose, I'm gonna start with Bix and we'll come around. Uh, Bix, any projects in the works that you can talk about,
Ooh.
or anything? You know, I know we'll tread carefully. Just curious if you got anything on your radar or any auditions coming up, or
Yeah. Well, a past project that I definitely need to shout out is
hmm
I was in the most recent VHS Beyond. I was
yes,
Mhm.
in the Live and Let Dive segment, and
hmm
that was such an incredible experience. So if anybody hasn't seen that in the horror community, definitely check that out. And then
yeah,
I also have a project coming out in 10 days from now.
cool,
And it's a narrative anthology podcast, and it's
okay,
called Ominous Thrill. And they do these narrative episodes, and I got to play a part of it's going to be like a sequel of one from the past. So
okay,
the first one got a lot of popularity, so they wanted to bring that character back, and I get to play lead alongside her in this really crazy story. And it was just a lot of fun, just being in the recording
yeah,
studio and just going through all the pages, going through the entire, like, I think it might be like 45 minutes, and just going through
Ooh,
it twice with all the actors in the room. It was a really fun new experience for me, and I cannot wait to hear it. So it's called Ominous Thrill, and it's coming out on July 17th.
Ooh.
Where's it going to be? Like
okay,
Apple
It's
yeah,
going to be
Podcasts?
on like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get podcasts.
Cool.
Cool. Wow.
okay. Now, Kylie, I know you're obviously the Haunted Hippie channel is doing great. You're doing awesome over there.
Thanks.
Tell us anything new with the channel coming, or you're acting or writing or directing, anything.
Yeah, my third independent short film is I'm not quite in pre-production. It is a little bit. The pieces are falling together. We are like 22% to the fundraising goal. So gonna
Okay.
be fundraising for like the rest of the year. Speaking of trying to get things funded,
hmm
it's hard. I basically have to like digitally panhandle, but
Yeah.
luckily I have an audience that likes my stuff, and it's you know so
Yeah.
it's not too beggy. But anyway, I host a lot of fun events though. Like I do like a tipsy Tuesday trivia night, so the more people tip, the more I tip my drink, and it becomes a fun thing. How drunk are we going to get haunted hippie tonight? Anyway, so you got to get creative when you want to fund your stuff. But
Yeah.
so yeah, that's going to be in production early next year. And thankfully, with some of the connections I've gotten from Jose, I think that I'm actually going to be getting Harry Manfredini to be on for the score. So
Ooh, nice.
yeah, I've been
Okay.
talking with him about it. I sent him the script. He watched my other shorts, and he seems down. So yeah, that's gonna be
Nice.
happening next year.
Yeah.
Ooh, good job.
Yay.
That's something to be excited about. My goodness.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. And by the way, guys, be sure you subscribe to Kylie's channel, Haunted Hippie. If you want to go see her do the little, what is it, tip from Tuesday? You called it? What's
Tipsy
it?
Tuesday.
Tipsy Tuesday. Oh my gosh, I gotta hop in and see this.
Yeah.
Yeah, go subscribe to her channel, show her some love and from the Craven community, and let's help her reach her goal as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Jose, now, dude, like I said at the very beginning, you are a machine. And I know this. You are always writing, brother. So
Yeah.
you've alluded to some projects. What can you share coming up?
I'm very grateful the universe has smiled on me the second half of the year. I've got 3 movies in the works.
Ooh.
I'm in post on one that I shot like literally like 2 days after the Killer Doll premiere. Right now it's titled Evil Nun, but I think the name's gonna change. It's a religious horror movie that we shot on location in this abandoned Spanish, like Mexican monastery church kind of thing. It's an amazing location.
Wow.
And that one is coming out in September. September? Yeah, at the end of September. And I just got a green light to make a movie tie-in to Running Man. So
Wow.
that one shoots next month, and that means I have to write it this month. So
Ooh.
I'll be writing that. Running Man will be next month. Then the month after that, I got a green light to do a tie-in for Soulmate, which is the other Megan spin-off movie.
Uh-huh.
So it's not gonna be a Morgan sequel because
Okay.
they didn't want a direct sequel. It'll be kind of its own thing. It won't be connected to Morgan. Whether Morgan gets a sequel or not is really up to the fans, and if the movie does well, that's really, you know, if there's word of mouth and people are talking. I mean, I'm hoping we designed it to be a cult classic, so hopefully it gets there. Who knows? But
Yeah.
if it gets a sequel, we'll worry about that down the line. But I have ideas for a sequel. It's not not going to go in the direction I think people think it's going to go in, but I think it's the right direction to take the sequel into. Oh, and
Okay.
then, funny enough, before the stream started, I just got another gig for
What?
something. So I'll be writing 3 movies in the next few months.
Dude,
Yeah, I'll be so.
congratulations.
Thank you. This is kind of insane. But so I'll be back, Craven, with and I'm
Yeah.
definitely bringing my cast with me. I want to work with these people over and over again.
Yes. Oh, I'd love to have everybody back. Everybody, coming on. We'll make it's a party. So, well, listen, everyone. I'll meet you guys backstage, but I want to say thank you again while we're live to Bix and Kylie and Jose. This was an awesome time. I hope you had a good time hanging out over in my neck of the woods. And if you guys are down for a watch party for Megan, see, that's your fault. Jose, you said Megan, that's your fault.
I know. I know.
If you're down for a watch party of Morgan, Killer Doll, I'll reach out to you guys. Bix, maybe I can get your contact info when we get offline and try to coordinate it so you guys can come back. I know scheduling can be hard, but maybe we can work something out in advance. So I think it'd be a blast. All right. Well, guys, don't forget to, thank you, Jose, again, and everyone. You've been amazing. Thank you to my moderators in the chat and everyone watching on replay over the next few weeks and months. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Don't forget to follow my guest on Instagram or X and Haunted Hippie, Kylie's YouTube channel. Be sure you go subscribe. Links are in the chat. Just click it and you'll be in business. All right. In the meantime, everyone, stay tight. I'll meet you backstage where we started. But for the live crew, we're going to say good night and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.